Today's openings begin with Trustfall Porter from Annex Ale Project in Calgary, Alberta. I have not had any of their beers before, but they describe this one as having chocolatey and coffee notes and, of course, a nice roasty malt. Oh, well, that is nice. So, let's get into the mail items. First thing in has, of course, no description on the outside of it. But it is a little module of some sort. It's a stepper motor driver based on the 8825 chip. A few months ago I was tinkering with some stepper motors and I noticed that I was running low on these, so I figured I'd order a few. I'm assuming that there's going to be some multi-packs coming and probably a different variety of them, because there are a few different versions of this same form factor of stepper motor driver, just running off different chips and in slightly different circuitry on them, but they all seem to come with a separate heatsink, which is nice, current limit adjustment potentiometer, and of course all of the connections listed on the bottom. Ground and power, there is the 2 coils of the stepper motor, ground and motor power, enable, 3 micro stepping selectors, and a direction to step, sleep and reset pins. All very standard stuff. If we take apart just about any 3D printer from the Ender era or earlier, you'll find basically these in them. And probably a lot of home CNC machines as well. Very handy little thing to have, and like I said, I'm just restocking. DRV 8825 or A4988 3D printer 42 stepper driver motor controller expansion shield module. I got the 4988 version with the green circuit board. There's also one with the red circuit board, which I don't know what the difference is other than the color of the board. But at the time that I bought it, this was the less expensive one. So that is the one that I got. Don't know if there's much else to say about them. We've seen these things many times before. They run on 5-volt logic. Motor voltage can be anywhere from 12 to 30 volts, depending on the stepper motor that you're using. And there is the interface pins that we saw when we were looking closer at it. Off to a good start so far, if slightly mundane. For 21 kinds of memory card reader. Okay, I think I remember ordering this. Yes, it is just a memory card reader for SD and CF, and there is all of the different types of cards that it can handle. And normally these days you're using, micro SD or SD cards, but I've got some older ones in a few different formats, and I could not find a reader anywhere around here to work with them. So I figured I would just grab this, and judging by the type of USB connector on here, this is a very old design. It would kind of have to be to do some of these older styles of memory cards, but now I've got it and I can dig through these old memory cards that I found collecting dust in a drawer and just make sure there's no important pictures of the kids on them. For 21 kinds of memory card reader for USB, external, mini, and then all of the different types. Yeah. Compact flash is primarily the one that I'm going to be using this one for, although, like I said, SD and micro SD are probably going to get used as well. I've got a couple of XD cards for a really old used camera that I got. I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing on those and maybe use that camera occasionally just for fun. I don't know. It's just a useful thing to have, especially if you've got older cameras and, like I said, older memory cards kicking around that you don't remember what's on them. And there, once again, are all of the different kinds of cards. There is some overlap in these because SD and TF or T-Flash are physically the same format. So, yeah, they're kind of stretching a little bit, but so be it. It does all these things. Moving right along. What's in a box? What's in a box? It is a sunflower LED light. So what is a sunflower LED light, you ask? I don't know either. Let's find out together. Oh, it's mains powered. It is European mains powered. Runs on 250 volts. Okay, so I think I spotted this when I was searching for stage lights and disco lights, and this thing kept coming up. It's got a whole bunch of LEDs around the sides, and looks like some kind of circuitry down in there. Let me take a quick look at the listing, and then I will find a way to power this up, and we'll just see what it does. Colorful disco lights, 48 LED rotating wall lights, flash bar, KTV shop, etc., etc., decorative lights, stage lights. And that is probably the keyword that got it caught up in my search. Anyway, there is an EU plug or a US plug version. I'm confident that I ordered the US plug version, aka North American plug version, but regardless, it showed up with the European plug on it. Oh yeah, and that is what it looks like apparently. Now I'm assuming that this is going to be animated and swirling around, but we shall find out momentarily. So the easiest way to test this thing will just be to plug it into this transformer, which I picked up at Goodwill years ago for a whole $2.50. Ooh, there we go. Let me dim the lights so you get the full effect of this. I don't know if that's any better or not, but that is what it does. It doesn't seem to be... No, it's not reacting to sound. It is just doing its patterns. Okay. That's kind of lame for disco mode, especially if you have a bunch of them like it shows on the listing, because they just all doing their own thing randomly, not to the music or anything. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's return to your regularly scheduled mail openings. Right, next item in. Maybe it'll be more impressive, maybe it won't be. Oh, it's a bunch of things. A whole bunch of things. Okay. Any more? No. Right, let's see what we got here. First off, it is a couple more of those stepper motor drivers. This one is a DRV 8825, and this one is either an 8825 or an 4988. Regardless, these are both stepper motor drivers. We just saw them moments ago. We know what they are. I can set those aside, and we'll see what else we've got here. Itty bitty little modules. 1S or 2S lithium battery voltage meter. Oh, okay. These things are tiny. There is actually 2 of them, just with little mouse bites to tear them apart there. Positive and negative voltage input, and 4 segments of LED little bar graph, and then a 6-pin chip and capacitor, and looks like some wee resistors, and that is it. And it looks like I got 10 of those. Alrighty. Well, this is a different listing. These ones are $2 each. But it looks like I got one of the red 4988s and one of the green 4988s. And other than the color and 4 cents price difference, I don't know why they are different, but they are. And again, we saw these a few minutes ago, so no point in going any deeper than that. 1 to 20 pieces, 1S or 2S lithium battery voltage meter module, 3.7 to 4.2 volts. 0.7 to 4.2 volts, that's 1S. I don't know what they're talking about, 2S. Anyway, I got 10 of them for about $3.89. There's a couple of different variants in here. These ones are also 10 pieces for almost $9, and these ones are for $4. So I'm going to guess that the ones that I got are 1S, but yeah, again, based on the pictures down here, it would seem that the ones that I got are the 1S ones. The 2S ones are probably those ones, but it doesn't show connecting them. Or maybe the 2S ones are these ones. I'm not sure. Regardless, we will find out when we play with them in the future. All right, what else have I got in here? Oh, That looks like more of the same or more similar. Oh no, it's different. Hang on, let me pull those out. So yeah, these ones are a little bit different. They've got the resistors on this side and that larger chip. So that must be probably the 2S version. Okay. So those came from the same listing, so I don't think I need to go back to the computer to look at those. Let's just see what else we've got in here. 3.3, 3.7 or 5 volt LED driver between 30 and 1500 milliamps. Constant current adjustable PWM control board. So there is some heatsink copper on the back side. A little 8-pin chip. We have an adjustment. One resistor. 1K resistor. And a chip. CN5711. Not familiar with that one. Right, back to the listings, I guess. Same description here, 3.3, 3.7 or 5 volt LED driver, 30 to 1500 milliamps, constant current adjustable module, PWM control board, USB LED flashlight. Okay, I got 5 of them for about $2.50 back when I bought them months ago. Working voltage, 2.8 to 6 volts, current, 9 watts maximum power, can drive 1 to 16 LEDs, sure, as long as the current doesn't exceed 1.5 amps, of course. LED over current and over temperature protection. So we have DC voltage and a CE, and I think that is the one, that you throw PWM at if you want to dim it, ground, and just the LED output. Okay. There we go. For PWM dimming, which could be an interesting thing. And of course, it'll run directly off your lithium-ion cell, so that's kind of cool too. Right, what's next in this multi-bag extravaganza? Another little module of some sort. Comes with a little piece of clear heat shrink. 8-pin chip. It's got 3 little buttons on it and 4 connections. Okay, so between 5 and 24 volts and ground in there. 5 to 24 volts there, ground there, a D1 and a D2. And a little jumper pad for 3 volts, question mark? Middle button says S. That one says possibly A or H. That one may or may not say something. I do not know what this guy is. And the chip has been lasered off, so whatever it is, they think it's secret enough for them to go to that effort. Well, I am thwarted. I've looked all through my sale history, and I cannot find anything that looks like this. I searched for the SKU that's on the bag, and I searched for the number that's on the back of there. Nothing. I can't search for the chip because, of course, they obliterated it. What I have found on here is there's a 5-volt Zener diode there, and there is a J3Y, which is an NPN transistor there. There's a diode, a couple of resistors and capacitors, and not much else going on. I do not know what to make of this thing. I don't know. If anybody recognizes this, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I'll have to brute force my way through this, which, again, is going to be a trick because we don't know what the chip is. Anyway, onward to the last of the things that was in that multi-pack. Let's see if I get any luckier figuring out what's in there. And this is... This is a couple of those base plates for the stepper controllers that I showed you earlier. Okay, so you take one of these handy-dandy little stepper driver boards. V-in is marked there, and V-in is this corner. That just plugs in there. Then you connect your stepper motor there. You connect your motor power there. You connect your logic voltage and ground there, your enable, your direction and step there, and control your micro stepping over here, and you have your stepper control in one handy dandy little package. And I got a pair of them, which would be nice to add to my collection of stepper and stepper accessories. Not much else to say about these things. We've already read that entire description over and over again because it's the same listing that I got these guys from. But these are, $2 each, and they make it really convenient to interface with these little boards. And after that extravaganza, let us see what is in the last and largest package here. It's another multi-pack. Okay, this one's only got 2 things in it, so let's just slice our way in here. This is some sort of connectors. 2 packages of 5 each. They're both the same. These look like... Oh, okay, so that is an insulation piercing connector. You just squeeze that down around a conductor, and those 2 barbs there grab through the insulation and bite into the copper. Hopefully don't break it. And on this side, one of these Wago lever style connections. Those are nifty. And you may recall that I got some kind of low budget tap connectors a while ago that I wasn't all that impressed with. These ones, it's a rigid plastic, but maybe they are more useful. I don't know. It's a different way of doing it, and I just went on a spree getting a few different variants on this tap connector theme. Oh, they aren't. Wait a minute. Even though those 2 bags were labeled the same, they're not. The one on the left is for a much heavier gauge wire than the one on the right. Okay. I was actually thinking a little bit when I ordered these. That is one thing about these insulation displacement connectors. If you get the wrong size of them, you can actually cut the wire. If you go too small, or if you got one that's too big, it won't do anything. T-type electrical wire connectors, snap, splice, locking, quick crimp terminal, lamp terminals, block electrical general connector. Right. So I got 5 of the 16 to 14 AWG and 5 of the 22 to 16 AWG. About $5 per package, about $1 a connector. They have a bunch of different varieties of them. They claim that they are good for either solid or multi-strand, or the super flexible multi-strand. I think I would prefer to probably use them just on this standard multi-strand, I think. They claim that they're good for 32 amps, 250 volts. No way. No way am I doing that. These are likely going to only ever be used for low voltage and relatively low current. For instance, like tapping an extra LED into the interior lights of my car or something like that. Nothing heavier than that, certainly. And let's see what's in the final bag of the final package. What we got, those are very standard looking Scotchlok style insulation displacement connectors. Although Scotchlok being 3M's brand, these are definitely not that. These are just cheapies from AliExpress probably. And these work very similarly. So the wire that's existing, that's passing through, that you're tapping into, goes there. And then you stub in your tap-off wire into there. I should probably use real wire for this, but I'm too lazy to go and get it there. This is way too small. Regardless, so your tap-off wire goes in there, and then you clamp down on the metal piece until it's flush, which should punch it through. Again, it'll go through the insulation and bite onto the conductor. And then once that's down and flush, you flip that over and clamp it on. These are not waterproof. None of this kind of thing is waterproof. These things do tend to get used far too often for putting like trailer wiring on cars and stuff. And they'll do that for, a year or so until corrosion gets into them. They're not great for that, but I've seen them used for that over and over again. 10 or 30 pieces T-tap connector, quick electrical cable connector, snap, splice, lock, waterproof. No, they are not. Crimp wire, terminal, blue, yellow, and red. Blue, yellow, and red are just the three different wire gauges. The red ones are, there you go. The yellow ones are for the much larger wire. And the blue ones are for sort of the mid-size. And again, mid-size in North American would be 14, 16 AWG. These guys would be 10 or 12. These would probably be 18, maybe 20. But again, I just got these just to see what they look like compared to the ones that I was used to decades and decades ago when I used to be a mechanic's helper. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. Quite the variety. I think I'm going to do a tear down on this little disco style light just to see what's inside it. That may be a quick one, I'm not sure. A bunch of stepper motor accessories, drivers, and the breakout boards. Those will come in handy, and just restocking because I've used a bunch of them in the past. This memory card reader, again, just a useful thing to have around, especially if you got multiple different types of memory cards from different types of cameras. What was this? This was the high current LED driver that'll run off lower voltage like a single lithium ion cell. That's kind of cool. These two are basically fuel gauges for lithium ion cells, 1S and 2S. There's these tap crimps, which could be useful, but mostly I just got them for curiosity to see if, the style that I'm used to is any worse or better than these ones. The fact that these have the lever locks on them is interesting, though. It lets you connect and disconnect stuff, although I don't know why you would want to repeatedly connect and disconnect the tapped wire. Regardless, it can do that. What else? Oh yeah, this little mystery guy here. And again, I searched and searched through my sale listings, and I could not find who I bought this from or when. I know when, because it's the same time that I got all these things, so they all came in the same package, but I have nothing in my history showing what this is. Maybe it was accidentally tossed in and I didn't order it, or maybe it is what I'm suspecting that it might be, a addressable LED board. Something else to play with in the future. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, as always, to my YouTube channel members and my Patreon supporters. They are the ones who help fund this stuff and keep the mailbags rolling in. I could not afford to do this without them. And as for everybody else, questions or comments down in the comment section down below. There will be links to all this stuff down there, of course. I'll talk to you later.